The American Embassy stated approximately 100,000 U.S. citizens live in Costa Rica. Your next question might be, why? There's a lot of great reasons as to why you might want to move to Costa Rica. It's very safe. The cost of living is much more affordable than in many places in America. And it's an absolutely beautiful place. It has all of these constant temperatures. And so your next question might be, well, sounds pretty good. Where should I live in Costa Rica? Well, welcome back to part 3 of our 5-part series where we're talking about the 5 best regions or the 5 best places to live in Costa Rica.
Welcome to another gorgeous day in Costa Rica and to part 3 of our 5-part series. And today we're going to bring you to the southern border of Costa Rica.
Indeed, it is a gorgeous day, and you can probably hear the river behind us. We're in Sabalito, and we're taking you all the way to the Panamanian border. Now, this area is mountainous, it's beautiful, it has Italian roots, and we're primarily talking about 2 towns, Sabalito and San Vito. Now, there are lots of nice little bitty towns in the area like
Linda Vista, Beja Oriente,
Agua Buena. You know, so there's some beautiful towns, and living anywhere in this area, you're going to absolutely love. Matter of fact, this was my most favorite place to live before we found the Rivers area in the Perez Zeledon area.
Which is now our favorite.
Which has now become our favorite. But you know, this is really such a nice place that I think everybody should at least come down here and stay when they first come so that they can get a real authentic feel of Costa Rica.
Yes,
you know,
it's so pure and it's so remote. There's no touristy things to do here, which could be good or bad depending on your character. But we are talking about the mountainous area above Ciudad Neyli. So that region, I wouldn't recommend living in Ciudad Neyli.
No. So anywhere up here, it's just really a beautiful place. You know, the majority of the Costa Ricans live here. They are people that get their livelihood from agriculture. You know, they're farming, and whether it's cattle, a lot of coffee beans. So you get to learn a lot about the coffee in this area as well. But it's an agricultural, chocolate. It's an agricultural area. So you're just not going to see a lot of tourists in this area. There's really no tourist attractions here other than one, which is Wilson's Garden, okay? But it's just a gorgeous place. So before we start talking about all the different aspects of this area, let's address some of the disadvantages of living in an area that is so remote and so far away from all of the stuff people normally come to Costa Rica to do. So what was the greatest disadvantage for you, Rebecca?
For me, it was the shopping. It's an hour and a half to any good shopping.
That's right.
So that was hard on me. But the place that you do go to shop when you go to the Panamanian border in a little town, an area called Canoas, when you do drive down there, make the hour and a half drive down the mountain, you can get anything there.
That's right. You know, so while that was a disadvantage at the time, keep in mind, it was a disadvantage because the only transportation we had was a motorcycle, or what at the time I called a moto truck, because we had this huge basket on the back, and we'd actually drive down there and we'd buy as much stuff as we could and put in there, because going, like Rebecca said, if you went to Canoas and you could shop at the city mall, wow, you could find anything that you wanted, and the prices were way more affordable there than buying anything in Costa Rica.
Right, the prices at the city mall are similar to those in the United States, whereas a lot of the stuff in Costa Rica is almost double that price.
And the quality of the products that you bought there were far greater there.
And the selection.
That's right.
The variety. I was in culture shock when we got here to San Vito and Sabalito area because of the shopping. Just really no selection.
That's right.
If you needed an umbrella, you might find one umbrella, one kind, one color, you know.
And it might work, 4 out of the 8 times you open it. So I'm just teasing. It wasn't that bad. But, the shopping, while you can find pretty much anything that you wanted to find between going to San Vito and Sabalito, it was a challenge, okay?
Right. Now, something else that might be a disadvantage for people, if you really like to maybe go to the movies or go to nice restaurants, if you like to go to the mall, This place is about 3 hours. This area is about 3 hours from the only movie theater that is in Perez Zeledon, and it only shows 2 movies at a time. And there's a mall in Perez Zeledon, but it only has like maybe 20 stores. So you're about 3 hours away from any entertainment of that sort.
That's right.
There's nothing ritzy here. Nothing fancy.
That's right. So if you want entertainment, really the only entertainment you're going to find here is going to be the local bars. You know, every once in a while they have a rodeo or a horse show. Yeah, the different holidays, you know, because this is such a huge agricultural places, they have, for lack of a better word, horse parades and horse shows, you know. So that's really neat. So there's just not a lot of entertainment outside of the bars, the rodeo, and eating.
If you're into just enjoying nature, enjoying peace and quiet, as you heard the parakeets.
Right, the parakeets just passed by here, if you heard that.
We've seen an iguana run into the restaurant we were eating at, and
yeah, one of our favorite little old restaurants, and we were eating there, and the iguana came in, and I caught this iguana, and I was holding this iguana, and from that time on, the restaurant was called Let's Go Eat at the Iguana Restaurant.
We give a lot of things our own names because we don't know the Spanish name for them. So
there are a lot of places to go eat, but there's not variety as far as you're not going to find McDonald's or American type food. There's lots of restaurants all over the place, you know, in remote areas. However, it's all going to be the typical cultural Costa Rican food.
The food pretty much tastes the same. We would select our restaurants according to the ambiance. If we could find a place that was didn't have loud music, or you know, that suited our taste.
That's right. Now, another thing is that you're going to be about 2 to 2.5 hours away from any good beach. The coast is probably about an hour and a half away, where you can get to the Gulf, and there's some good fishing down there. However, if you're a beach person, there's not beaches close by.
Right.
Another thing that may be a disadvantage is that while they're making lots of improvements right now, and they're installing fiber optic, when we were here about 5 years ago, there really wasn't good internet. And still to this day, the only internet provider is the government internet, which is EC or Colby. So you had to be close to the city. Now, they do have an entrepreneur, super good guy. His name is Jason Gonzalez. He has a company called Telenet, and so he does provide tower-to-tower internet. So, if you come here and you want to live in remote areas and enjoy the scenery and the beauty, that's one guy that you can contact, and we'll put, you know, his information in the PDF so that you can download that information in the event that you come down here, because that's a guy that does provide internet, not just in this area, but some of the surrounding area as well. But keep in mind that internet is always going to be a lot more expensive because he's buying it for the country. He's installing towers and equipment and reselling it to you.
In fact, he's the person that we got internet from when we first moved to Sabalito. And we drove by the house that we used to live at, and they have internet there now.
They now have internet on that street, which you see they didn't have, and it really wasn't that far away from town. You had to be really close to town, and when I say close, within 1 kilometer of town to get just the basic internet.
Right.
But you know what? One really important thing is that you are 6 hours away from San Jose. You know, when we first came here, we landed in San Jose, we rented a vehicle, and we thought, hey, no big deal. When we get to San Vito, we'll just drop it off.
Little did we know there is no drop-off anywhere in San Vito, Sabalito, and up this mountain. We had to drive an hour and a half to bring the car back to a rental place over at Casa Canoas. And we're also, from this area, about 6 hours away from the airport as well.
That's right. The airport in San Jose. So those are things to keep in mind, right? If you're planning on traveling out often, you got to keep that in mind. Now, there is public transportation. So if you get here and you don't have a vehicle, well, no problem. You can take the bus. Just know that it's going to be a little bit of a trip.
Right. You take the bus down to Ciudad Nayeli, get on another bus, and it takes you over to Pascanoa.
That's right. So there are a few disadvantages, but the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. So, you know, one of my favorite advantages is just it felt so safe here. You know, I loved this culture, and to this day, I still believe that this is just one of the best places in all of Costa Rica.
We would run at night, jog at night, and felt totally secure, totally safe. The people are so friendly and so helpful.
That's right.
It makes it a lovely, lovely place to live.
Now, another thing is that you can find lots of rentals here. However, you're not going to find them on websites generally.
Not going to find it in a newspaper. You have to just talk to the locals.
That's right. So once you get here, you can drive up and down the streets, walk around the streets, meet people, and you can find rentals.
Do what we did. We went to Pescado del Bosco, which is kind of a gringo hangout restaurant in Linda Vista, and started talking to the local gringos, and that's where we found one of our first rental homes. That's
right, because we did find our first one by looking at some real estate places, but it was very, very difficult. So we found a place, and it was $500.
Yeah,
that's right. It was expensive compared to what things normally are. But we stayed there only 1 month, and in that month, we met people, we found a place, and it was only $100. So we went from $500 to $100, which was great. And you can actually find some really wonderful places to rent, very economically and affordable in this area.
Yes.
Another wonderful advantage is that you can find a hospital right there in San Vito. So if you live in Sabalito, you're only about 10 or 15 minutes away from the hospital. And both San Vito and Sabalito have a high school, which is kind of rare because they're normally not that close together. So if you're coming here with children, there is a high school there. Okay, which that makes it nice. Now, another really advantage, like Rebecca said, is that being close to the border, they have the ability to stamp in and out very easily because it's close to the border. You can go to the city mall and find anything you want, okay? And it's so much cheaper. And you can buy your gas. But there is a little community that is only about 5 minutes away from San Vito called La Union, and it's on the border. So you got duty-free shopping right there where you can get alcohol. There's a hardware store. There's gasoline right there. So you can buy your gasoline really cheap. And when I say cheap, the normal price is about $4 to $5 a gallon in Costa Rica. And so you're getting it at almost half price by going to the Panamanian border and buying gas at La Union. So that's a huge plus for me.
So between the low prices and the duty-free, it's really nice. It makes it very affordable to live here in Sabalito. And if you don't have a vehicle yet, you can just take the bus.
The public transportation and the taxis, you really can get around this whole area. If you live right there close to Sabalito or San Vito, you can really walk around everywhere and find anything that you need.
In fact, when we first got here, the road to Rio Sereno and La Union, the roads were terrible. They looked like horse and buggy type roads, just gravel and dirt. But they've paved those roads now. A
lot of the roads that were gravel have been paved. And so it really is, we've seen a lot of improvements in the short time that we've been here. So at the time of this recording, we've been here almost 7 years, and we've seen lots of growth in internet. We've seen lots of growth and improvements on the roads. And so this area is really, really a nice place to stay. Now, another one of the benefits to keep in mind is that while it's not a touristy area other than Wilson's Garden, and you won't see a lot of tourists, you're not going to see a lot of tourists, you're not going to see a lot of gringos, and that's one of the things I really loved. I loved coming down here, and the majority of the time that we walked out through town, we were the only Americans around. So I did enjoy that. It felt very, very safe over here.
It did.
I really enjoyed that. Matter of fact, we lived in one house and it was right on the edge of the park. So it was nice to be able to look down, see the park. We'd walk down to the grocery store, and I would joke that our house is only one ice cream cone away. Wait, I could pick up an ice cream cone. By the time I got to the house, I was done. So that was just, I enjoyed living here. Really nice.
It has a really cute park. And if you're interested in seeing a little tour, of Sabalito and San Vito, be sure to check out our video that we're gonna do here very shortly. That's gonna show you the tour of the Sabalito area. So you're gonna really enjoy that. So that brings us to the question of the day. If you were to live in this southern zone, do you think you could live this remote and this far away from entertainment? I'd like to hear your story, so make sure to put your comments below this video, and make sure to check out our other videos. If you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up,
like the video, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon so that you can get notified of the next video, because videos go live every Thursday at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you next time.